Hey guys, we're going to talk about book covers today and how they're important. Now, I'm going to do a slideshow sort of different book covers that I've picked up just because of the cover. Now, I've probably talked about Lost Voices before. This is a book about mermaids and it's kind of dark, but the covers, every single time I look at them, they're fascinating. So that's an example of one. There's also some where you're just like the cover confuses you, so you pick it up and read for further information, and then that one you may or may not end up wanting to read it because you read the back of it and you're just like, I'm not feeling it. So, um, what you do, or what I do when I go to a bookstore, is I start looking at the covers, and then I look at the names. Usually you look at them at the same time, but the picture is what captures your eye. You're not looking and you're like, I want to look for this specific word. So it's more the image that sticks with you than the name. But then after you pick it up and start looking at it, you want to remember the name because you may not have enough cash to buy it yet. Um, I always write down in my phone what ones caught my eye, and then I'll come back to them. If they still look interesting, then I'll usually end up buying them or ask for them for Christmas. But um, Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name or not. It's an excellent book, probably one of my favorites, and the cover, it it's interesting because it's a girl. She's in this red dress and she has the crossbow, and you're just kind of like, what? And then the title, it's even more confusing. So of course, like if you're interested, you're gonna pick it up and uh, read the synopsis or the teaser inside the book or on the back of it. And when I read that, I was so into it. I was like, this sounds so interesting. So that's an example of one. My most favorite book, or favorite uh, is The Warrior Heir, and it's a very simplistic cover. It's just the hilt of a sword, but that hilt is described in great detail in the book, but you don't realize it until you've like gone through it and read it and you find out that it's actually in Shadow Slayer, Jack Swift's sword that he gets from the churchyard. But yeah, that one's definitely still my favorite. The cover, it's embossed, so when you run your fingers over it, where the spiral of the grip, you can feel the spiral, and I just feel like that's a really good technique that they used on that book. It's just black and it just has a sword hilt on it. The other two that followed it, the Wizard Heir and Dragon Heir, they were similar, but they weren't as powerful as just that simple sword hilt. And the book itself could have just stood alone on its own. Other books, there's some where they're not gonna catch your eye, and unless someone tells you, oh, you need to go read this book, go read it, then you may not pick it up on your own volition. Some I like to look at as I'm reading because it's just like a scene from the book, and then you want to look at it later and be like, oh, okay, so that's what this is happening. The Warriors series and Redwall are good examples of this because they usually have a particular scene on the cover or a particular character, and you look at it, and when they described it, you're just like, okay, so there's that, and there's that, and that's the way that I look at the book covers. Um, the uh, not Redwall, the Warriors series usually has a square or a circle of one particular cat in the background, and that cat is usually one of the ones that's the main focus on it. And sometimes you don't know who they are if you're not familiar with them, and they're a new character that's introduced. So I don't really know what else to say about book covers. I'm probably just going to show you examples of the good ones, like the ones that I've mentioned, and some that the cover didn't work, but someone else's suggestion or the inside of it ended up like I'll pick up ones that don't have an interesting cover, but you need to keep in mind that for those who want to go into publishing business or something, remember that that's the first thing that your potential readers look at is the cover. So you really want to make sure that that's what's going to catch people's eyes. Now the Harry Potter books, um, they're one of the ones where you can look and see fine details of things that are mentioned, like Sorcerer's Stone. You see in the background, you see Fluffy, the three-headed dog. You see the unicorn going into the Forbidden Forest. You see him catching the snitch. And if you flip to the back of certain ones, then it adds more to it. Like the sixth one, the Half-Blood Prince. You flip to the back of the hardback one. I don't know about the paperback, and you see Ron and Hermione looking up at the Dark Mark, and that just adds more to the cover, the story that it's trying to show, and so yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this. It's an original video, so yeah. Okay, so here's the Warrior Arrows cover, and this is the sword hilt I was talking about, and you see the spiral grip. Well, when you have the actual book, it's embossed, and so you can feel it and everything. And it's just really simple, like I said, and this is my favorite book. Next, we have Grave Mercy, and here's the girl in the red dress and the crossbow and her face. You don't really know what her expression is or why she's making that expression, but and the title also, it just kind of catches your eye. You're just like, what's Grave Mercy and everything. Here's Lost Voices. This is probably one of my favorite covers just because I love the font, the mermaid. It's just the colors and everything. It just catches your eye. And this one, the cover, when you have it in person, is sort of luminescence. So you can twist and turn it, and the light will catch it in different ways. Here we have the first Warriors book, and it's Rusty, or who becomes Firepaw, Fireheart, Firestar later on in the book series. He's entering the wild, and that's why he's in the center. And then the two cats down the bottom, one's Gray Stripe, and the other one is I think it's Tiger Star. Um, Here we have the complete book jacket to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and as it pans, you can see the different items that are in the story, like the bludger and Harry catching the snitch, the unicorn, Fluffy, the owls, just different portions of it that's illustrated in the cover. Here's one that's a great book, but the cover never caught my eye. I picked it up because it was like on the new readers list or whatever. It did not do anything for me. I was just like, it's a flames, whatever, and the title didn't illuminate further anything. But it's a great book, and this is just an example of book jackets gone wrong.